Welcome back to Dota 2 Asian Championships, Day 2 of the group stage. We've seen some really good matches so far. We've finished an amazing
Bruno,
one.
can I just cut you off real fast?
Go ahead.
Every time you say every time you say Dota 2 Asian Championships,
yes,
I hear Dota 2 Agent Championship.
Agent Champion.
Yeah.
There's a difference between Asian and Agent.
Yeah. But you know when you say things like Venomancer,
Yeah.
Venomancer.
Yeah. You're making fun of my accent, aren't
Yes.
you?
Hey,
Okay.
And I
you live in a
shouldn't be-
glass house.
I shouldn't be the one that's saying it, but you know, I just wanna.
Don't be throwing bricks around.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Welcome back to DAC. Sorry, I cut you off. What
Yeah,
happened?
we're at DAC.
Okay.
We're here with syndereN, Lumi, LG, and yours truly. We're gonna watch a game that I'm really particularly looking forward, which is Vici Gaming versus LGD. Two of the teams that coming into the tournament were the strongest ones, but only one was able to live up to the expectations. What's wrong with LGD?
What's wrong with LGD?
I think just decision making as a team later on in the game. They obviously have the individual skill. I don't think their drafting has been particularly bad. You look at the game versus EG, lanes were a bit weak, but the whole draft wasn't really designed to win the lanes. It was much more focused on once the Morphling gets his max adaptive strike, and we have a little bit of basic farm on our Lycan, then we just start jumping you with the adaptive strike, pick you off your Jaw Ranger, and the draft kind of falls apart from EG if it's executed well. But then they just walk up mid, they're spotted, they still go in, EG's completely prepared and just punish them for it. I mean, that game to me kind of encapsulated what I feel is wrong with LGD right now, which is simply just they need to have very decisive team decisions. And I guess some of these, it's not really the old LGD squad, so it's not like they're just missing, like, it's not like Xiao 8's gone, but they have like the 4 old LGD members. It's only Yao who's really left from the old team. So it's just a matter of, I guess, who's deciding who's going to be in charge and just having that person make consistent calls.
It just seems surprising that a team with Faith and MMY goes down on decision making.
Right, they're not short on players who can make
They
great
are
decisions.
usually really good. Faith, obviously the captain of the IG squad that won TI2. MMY has been around forever playing supports, you can tell in the games. You can just follow his hero and tell that he is making moves and commanding plays.
And
it's
Yao
really
did a
obvious from what he's
serviceable
doing.
job after Xiao 8 left.
Yeah.
He did a
He's
decent
doing
job
well
with
too.
LGD.
So it's really surprising for me that that's their problem. That's not what I would have expected LGD's. Also historically, that team has been really good at staying disciplined during pushes, making the right calls, and now they're just diving for kills that, or even diving for entire team fights, not just single kills. Where, I mean, that's not something you attribute with the LGD name.
Yeah. Maybe it's too many leaders. I don't know. Perhaps that's the problem.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Could be.
It's hard to say. We don't actually know we're not privy to the team's communication, but just looking at the results, it seems like they're not making the right calls. That's for sure.
Yeah, but if they have one chance to actually turn things around, that would be this game, because beating Vici Gaming, that would be a huge statement of, oh yes, we actually can beat anyone, and also we're taking down one of the teams that is favored to be top 4 in this tournament so far. So Vici Gaming, on the other hand, before this there were rumors about Black maybe not staying in the team and hesitating about that. Has Black been a crucial figure in this team, or he just being one more passenger in a team of 5 people doing pretty well?
In this tournament or in
In
general?
this tournament.
Well, how many games has Vici played? 3 or 4?
4.
The 3-on-1?
Yeah, 3-on-1.
Yeah. I think I only saw one game, so I might not be the right one to talk about that.
I actually feel like the 1 or 2 games I saw, it felt like he was playing a bit worse. But coming into the tournament, I thought he played exceptionally well at the Summit. I know God's argument is that Ice is carrying this team, that anyone would look good in Black's position. I don't know if I quite agree with that, but I do think he is a beneficiary of having a really strong supporting cast. And I think you can put any top-tier carry in his shoes, and they will definitely do just as well, if not better. So I agree that he's replaceable in that sense. He's not the sole reason they're winning. But I don't think coming into DAC that he's been a liability. In fact, you go back to the Summit Grand Finals, he had some gigantic Chronospheres that won them that Grand Finals versus Cloud9. But that said, he has not been particularly standout so far at this event.
I think he's more of a liability on the draft. He's not a carry where you could pick him anything and just make him roll with it.
Do you really? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
It's a conversation I brought up like yesterday, I think it was. I don't think he's there like Burning where you could play every single carry role.
Oh, we talked about that today.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. That
So
what does
he played
what
a
does he
lot of different heroes.
Because I look at like
Summit.
the
Black
thing
with
is, like,
mixed
what
results.
he was saying,
Yeah, I
I will
guess.
try to like resume his point. Is like he's very good when a hero is all about farming, or all
Anti-mage.
about fighting.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not about doing
Not
a
in
little
the
bit of it.
between.
I would agree
because
with that.
Decision making is
Like
not
Slark
good.
is a good example of a hero that I think Black struggles a bit more on at times because you have to balance farming with fighting.
Exactly. So in theory, you can draft him Slark, but whether he's going to give you the Slark performance like Art did, what we just watched, maybe not.
I also want to mention something we haven't talked about, because his player mentality, if you're suddenly told that your future with this team is in jeopardy, that can really affect how you play.
And that's kind of what I was driving at.
If he starts thinking twice about his moves that would previously just be automatic, he would just go in, he would get the kill, make the play. Now he's like, he might be hesitating a little bit because he's afraid of making the mistake that's going to make him look bad in the team, even though he has the confidence to go in. Usually, it's difficult to play under those circumstances. So I hope that's not the case and that he can show that he's still playing at a top level. But I would be absolutely. It has to affect him in some way, unless it's just complete rumors and there's absolutely nothing to it. But obviously, he knows better than we.
I mean, he said publicly he had no idea. All he's going to do is just try to play his best, and that's the right thing to say. But I mean, let's be honest. If you even suspect that maybe your team's thinking about replacing you, it's going to hurt your confidence at least a little bit.
It's Dota. People know this stuff. If it's a rumor, it's probably true.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, ask Bulba. He will tell you.
Yeah, we should have actually just asked Bulba on day one.
Yeah, he wanted to do some casting. Maybe we should get Bulba on the line here at some point.
Could use some more rumors and some more gossip.
Yeah.
From NA Gossip Girl #1.
NA Gossip Girl.
He's actually reformed now. He's not quite as much of a gossipper as he used to be.
Oh.
I don't know how much that's saying.
With you, maybe you leaked something and he just doesn't ask you anymore.
No, I mean, he will gossip, but he's like, but now he says, like, I don't really want to be that guy. And then he gossips.
That is more powerful than me. We do have a game. Vici Gaming versus LGD has just started. We're into the draft. We're going to go into the draft right now, all four of us. After the draft is over, it's going to be all syndereN and Lumi, a pair that I don't think ever been cast
It'll be
together.
a very interesting draft.
What's your Archon name?
Archon name? Or your Archon now?
Oh, yeah, well,
because I'm all about those
LumeRen.
LumeRen.
I guess it has to be
That's not very good.
Syndus.
Syndus is better.
See, there's like Synda.
That sounds like very evil. I like that.
Synderumi? Synderumi.
That's actually not bad.
Synderumi.
All right, okay.
It sounds like you're my roommate living
well. The debut cast for syndereN coming up soon.
Okay, so we got Wisp and Juggernaut. So this already screams the ability to push, but obviously they have a ton of ganks as well.
Little surprised not to see the Wisp ban, just because most teams have been banning against Vici, and they run it exceptionally well.
This was the opener Vici used yesterday against EG when they lost. EG played Shadow Fiend and Lone Druid in that game as their two physical damage cores. But this time around, the Shadow Fiend is banned by LGD, so they can't grab that. And Lone Druid, I honestly don't think, like, this is
I mean, Sylar plays a magnificent Lone Druid, but I can't even remember the last time I've seen it. It's probably been a year or two.
Like TI2.
Do you remember that time when Liquid tried to dive him? I think it was at TI3, and he, like, juked them with the bear. He ended up blocking...
Maybe it was TI2, yeah. It was really good.
I think it was TI3. Well, either way, it was... Yeah, his micro is very good.
Has anyone else than EG picked Lone Druid so far in the tournament? Has it only been them running it as a strat?
Don't think so.
They've used it 2 or 3 times by now. Maybe only twice.
I will say I really like Vici Gaming's bans, predominantly the Ember Spirit ban. We've been talking about Yao, and he looks a bit diminished in his laning potential. I mean, we were talking about Secret maybe not having any weak links, at least in terms of like one player is consistently underperforming. To me, Yao is that weak link right now for LGD. And you take away his Ember Spirit, the other main go-to hero for him has been Invoker. Yeah, but I think this is a smart move by Vici. Take Yao out of his comfort zone, and it's up to him to prove that he can step up and deliver on other heroes.
Yeah, fair enough. And the other interesting thing is that with the first pick, Tide Hunter from LGD Gaming, Tide Hunter is one of those heroes that is really good against Wisp, because when you see the relocate, I mean, you can, if you have some teammates that can turn around you, that will bail you out of being ganked yourself. But against Juggernaut, it's not that great, because Ravage, it's kind of telegraphed unless you have a Blink Dagger and you blink immediately straight next to the Juggernaut. So Tide Hunter is one of those heroes that is very, very favored by some teams right now, but I'm not sure if it's warranted or not.
Ice has been playing a little bit more Tide lately. I wouldn't say it's a block pick, because there's no point in trying to block pick Ice. He's going to find something good to play, but they are worried about the push. Lumi, you mentioned it could be a push strat. Wisp Jug doesn't have to be, but they banned Chen and Terrorblade.
I think Vici game. Okay, so I said EG is the only team that's played Lone Druid so far. They could totally play Lone Druid with us.
Would actually be pretty good.
They could really pull it out. Healing Ward is exceptionally good for the bear.
Yep.
They have Black, who plays a very, very good safe lane Lone Druid that we haven't seen for a long time. He could totally play that. Last time Vici Gaming ran this, they played IO Juggernaut off lane with Ice 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 Jug, and I think it was Fenrir on the IO.
Yeah.
Then they could do dual lane setups with Black safe lane, Lone Druid gets a little bit of starting help from a support, and then Lone Druid is one of those heroes that you can actually just leave alone in the lane. You give him level 3, and then a support can leave.
And he can actually shut down the tide off.
He'll win the lane
well.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that would be an interesting approach to take here. I also think LGD so far, these two heroes, Lion and Tide, don't really counter Lone Druid to any extent. So
Nope.
No, they have no
That's
good
an
way to
option
kill the
they
bear.
have.
They can slow it down a bit with the Anchor Smash, but
yeah.
they're not shutting it down.
I just want to revisit a point that you brought up, Bruno, where during the relocating, right now you have really two good ways to deal with it. You could prep up the Ravage. I also saw MMY did this multiple times when he play Lioness. He just counts the circle timer on the relocate, and as soon as they come in, Impale hits on both, and that allows you to really set up some easy kills. And obviously, Hex against Juggernauts running towards you to try to get off the Omni Sag is a huge play.
Especially with the new acquisition range, which is pretty low since that recent slight nerf to Omni.
Yeah. So
Morphling ban out. This is a Sylar classic. Also the Lycan. So 2 targeted bans at Sylar. I like that.
It's good. I mean, you are saying Yao is a weak link right now, or a bit of a weak link. If you focus on just trying to put Sylar out of the comfort zone, suddenly you have 2 out of the 3 cores playing not as great as they used to.
Yeah.
And that would give Vici Gaming a huge advantage. So.
And what is that Sylar hero this game? As Vici will go Witch Doctor.
And what about Yao playing his Centaur again? That's a hero we totally haven't seen this tournament. I believe Yao plays an amazing Centaur, right?
I remember
they could do that.
Yeah.
It's going to swap their lanes around, though, perhaps. So I guess that might be...
I mean, the heroes I feel like Yao's most known for historically is his Magnus, which...
He's really good at Magnus,
I'm surprised
too.
we haven't seen more of it this tournament. It's something Na'Vi were running a lot, and yeah, maybe it doesn't fit every game, but I don't know. It's just such a good Yao hero.
Yeah, even
I feel like
Na'Vi
they
aren't
should
running
bring
it
it
now,
out.
right? Na'Vi haven't picked it either.
I still feel that hero's very strong in this patch. But
I think so, too.
Ancient Aberration is picked, and it's kind of like a very obvious pick when you look at 3 heroes that had the potential to heal their teammates.
Right,
And
but it's so obvious. Why didn't they ban it out?
It almost feels like Vici was baiting them into picking it.
Yeah, they had the first pick after the ban phase, so they picked Witch Doctor.
They baited them into it, and now Witch Doctor plays without the heal. Juggernaut will not skill the healing ward, and Io will play without tether.
Got him.
Bam.
Ancient Apparition is a bit vulnerable in the laning stage, though. This is a very squishy, immobile support. And Vici actually have some very strong aggression early on. Juggernaut, Wisp, Witch Doctor, these are heroes that can just run at you.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a 15-second tangent. Back in Dota Cinema days, when they did the Dota Daily Show, remember? That's the thing that lived for about a month. Lumi and you did some stuff.
It's not Dota Cinema, so that's the first mistake.
No, did I say Dota Cinema?
Yes, you did.
Dota
get out of the house.
Jesus Christ. Dota commentaries. My name is Gavin, and I only have 5 seconds left. There was a challenge that you tell viewers.
All right, you're out of time.
Time's up.
Yeah. Damn it. A challenge for you. Play
Hey,
Wisp and do not skill tether.
Does the overcharge work for yourself?
Yes.
You just go DPS Wisp.
Yeah.
Easy.
Go. Anyways, Magnus is a pick for Vici Gaming.
Oh, that was not the team I had in mind for it, but it could work.
I guess it's...
There's some insane potential.
Do you know
here.
who Magnus is good with?
Juggernaut.
Lone Druid.
Also okay with Juggernaut.
Yeah. I mean...
By the way, Troll is just chilling out there, as is X. All of a sudden, I'm
That's
telling you guys,
true.
they're really not that popular with these supposedly tier 1 Chinese teams.
Supposedly tier 1.
Well, I mean, I think Vici still deserves the distinction. LGD, I think the viewers would argue maybe not deserving right now.
Well, you lose 3 matches and suddenly...
But they haven't looked that great even coming into the tournament.
Yeah. Is there any like Chinese team that you could just say they're tier 1, no questions asked?
I'd say Vici, for sure.
I would have said newbie before this tournament.
Okay.
I think
feels
newbie
like
now, it's very hard to make the argument.
It feels like everybody except Vici has a very weak case. I know you're not a fan of IG, but they are doing well.
I would say
does
Vici
eHome-
and
does eHome
eHome. I
count?
would say Vici and
I would
eHome,
say eHome.
if I had to make a list of 2.
I would agree with D-Home.
Oh, they're going to grab the Dusa. So maybe aiming to... So it looks like Vici Gaming's lineup wants to kind of go in your face. RP, Juggernaut rushes in and starts hitting you, Death Ward and everything. Stone Gaze has been a really good ability so far this tournament.
Yes.
Both in the wild card and in the group stage we've had so far. We saw the previous game with eHome versus HR, where Stone Gaze probably saved the game 5 times in a row.
Yep.
So It's a very powerful ability that's always been very strong on paper, but I think it's taken a while before we got to a metagame where Medusa could really fit in and start working. And now that the games are slower, there is more emphasis on farming and less emphasis on taking towers really early. That's obviously, if you go back into Dota 1 history, there was a time when Medusa was first pick.
Yep.
That was when all the games were like 70 minutes long, and then you got full inventories on 2 or 3 carries in the game, and Medusa would just win that.
Lumi is drooling right now.
Yes.
Oh, you missed those old
Your,
days.
your second Medusa game in as many games.
Stone Gaze is really good against teams that are forced to commit after using certain spells. So like Magnus, for example, when you land an RP and she Stone Gazes, you're not going to just back off, right? If you do, then your RP is wasted. And obviously, Witch Doctor, who's standing there and channeling his Death Ward, Stone Gaze will just well, not instantaneously, but eventually cancel that out. So Stone Gaze is going to have a ton of application in this game.
Invoker and Viper are the last 2 heroes to be banned. That means no Yellow Invoker, clearly, and also means no Black Invoker, which I'm a little bit sad because I kind of enjoy that one.
I really miss the Ice Invoker. I mean, Black has played it really well for Vici, and it's a hero they ran a lot.
Yeah.
But back at the summit and even ESL leading up to that.
We were talking about how Black was not that great on the Slark as he
has had really standout games. It's just there's also those total airball games. Like I compare him to like Ditya, where I feel like Ditya every time he plays Slark, he has a big game.
Yep.
Ooh, Faceless Void.
And Faceless Void, actually a hero that I'm surprised that we haven't seen much of during the tournament. It's faced off clearly in the last since the last patch, I guess. Which the only big change I think was the wards not being able to attack inside the Chronosphere.
Yeah, which I guess this game not likely to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this LGD draft really greedy in the sense that if Vici Gaming push early, they have just no way to defend?
They have AA ult, unless we talk super early. They have AA ult, they have Mystic Snake, which is actually a fairly good.
In theory, like Blink Ravage,
And
maybe.
Impale, yes.
Maybe.
It's just like,
Anchor Smashing.
Vici probably aren't looking to 5-man, though. This is a little more spread the map.
Not
I
even
think they need to skirmish. And then
exactly.
use
completely
relocate.
forgot about this.
Okay.
Completely forgot about this.
Is it too late?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Disregard the draft, Vici Gaming, no matter what.
Yeah, Vici.
I would have
Vici.
gone Vici.
I would have gone
Different,
Vici as
yeah.
well. Cool, perfect.
But I actually think LGD has better chances because of the draft than they would have gone
I was going to say,
blindly.
I feel like after the draft, I'd be more inclined to say LGD. But
Slark is really good against Medusa, as we saw in the game before with eHome versus Hellraisers, but in a way they kind of counter each other to some extent. But Slark, the one thing about Medusa is she takes a long time to kill her targets, so Slark just gets to stack up so much Essence Shift during the fights. But if you're playing against a Void, that can easily be stopped, because you can actually, if LGD, let's isolate their lineup and say they get everything off. They have like 15 seconds of chain stun. They have Ravage into Chrono, then they have
Impale Hexes.
They have Impale, and then they also have the Stone Gaze afterwards. If they
and that's not even
time
counting
it
refreshers.
well, then that's going to be really powerful.
Well, that's when the first Hex already cools down, so you could use it a second time. We could even go for days for this.
A million hours of stun.
Okay.
But it's many ifs. That's the thing. How many ways do they have of initiating the fight? Tide needs Blink. Void can to some extent do it, especially if he gets decent farm, and Lion also needs a Blink. So it's not that easy for them to get in and set that wombo combo fight up, but if they do it, they could run over VG in team fights. I don't think VG can win an established team fight without a good RP. It's
All
just
right.
impossible.
Well, Bruno and I are going to leave you guys. Lumi,
It's a syndereN.
syndereN. Take it away.
So,
Okay.
are you surprised by any of the laning here, syndereN? That dual lane top, it's 2-1-2 for Vici, which pretty normal, right? Well, there's.
Yeah, I thought they were going to dual lane off lane the Jugger IO, so that's not really that surprising. That's going to be the bounty rune picked by IO, and Slark gets the other one. So they actually get both bounty runes. As far as rotating the... No, this is what I would have expected, actually, from Vici Gaming. So it looks like the way they will be putting their lanes is super mid on the Magnus. Toward the bottom lane, it's going to be Fenrir on the Witch Doctor together with Black on the Slark, and then the top lane will, of course, be the remaining two, Ice, and FY on IO. So that's pretty much standard. As for LGD... Yao on the Void together with MMY's Lion will also be helped out by the AAF Faith. So triple lane for them up here. Mid lane, Sylar will be playing the Medusa, which is... We've seen Medusa mid all the games it was picked, actually.
Yes.
And then in July on Tide. I guess this is what you could have expected. Maybe LGD could have tried a dual lane off lane, but I don't know if they could have put a dual lane that beats this lane anyway.
Actually, I think Navi also runs Dusa, but I'm not sure if they run it mid. I think Dendi...
Yeah, Kvos mainly plays in the safe lane.
Yeah. But that's just a random aside. So this tri-lane is... I'm not sure if it's actually even going to win against this kind of Jugger Wisp dual lane. I think Jugger is going to be just going into farm, and he honestly will not die thanks to Tether, Spin, and Overcharge coming in level 2 once Wisp gets there. So I'm not sure if you want to just rotate support, because if you just sit the tri-lane there, they're not going to get too much.
Yeah, a big part of the success of AA and tri-lanes depends on chilling touch. But if you have Blade Fury, then that doesn't really matter. You just block the magic damage. So I think the problem about this for LGD is I don't really know if they have an alternative. I don't think they could do anything that's much better than what they have right now. If anything, they could maybe rotate the AA mid and destroy that mid lane and give Medusa free farm instead of having Medusa versus Mag. But if they do that, they might open up the top lane for Ice to find a kill maybe. So
well, I guess Void also always have leap, so maybe not a kill, but Void's just not farming. But MMY does have boots first. Maybe they're going to go for early smoke play with, you know, Impale to initiate and Hex to follow up. That's a ton of damage. Wisps is going to go to check a little bit. Rune. Actually, is MMY in a little bit of trouble here? No, there's no balls.
Be. This is a pretty good block. Faith is going to come in as well. Yeah, he's going to back off, but there's the skewer.
Okay. Impale hits on all three. He's going to be fine. He has boots. Yeah, he's pretty lucky there. I think if they had level 2 on the Wisp with balls, maybe they get killed. Meanwhile, it looks like the Witch Doctor in a little bit of trouble.
No
Shouldn't die here. Yeah, double damage. Pretty strong.
Yeah, if Tide had boots there, he might have actually chosen to try to dive for that one, but didn't have the goal at the time. So he got the bottom rune. The top rune was taken by Magnus. That was a bounty rune, so not really going to put too much pressure mid. Currently being won fairly handily by Sylar on the Medusa. 16 CS on him against 10 on Mag. But like you said, that top lane, actually no one is farming. Juggernaut has 6 CS.
I guess it's more.
Void has 6.
It's more okay for the Juggernaut to not get farmed, right? Because he's off lane in this case. He's dealing against a tri lane. So if you could trade your no farm for Void's no farm, you take that trade any day, right?
Yeah, because you're free farming the Slark as much as the mid lane, and then Magnus is actually getting his as well. That's one of the nice things about Magnus in the mid lane. There's very, very few heroes that can prevent him from farming. Shockwave has nice damage, extreme cast range, and is very easy to land. So, like, the only hero I can remember seeing totally dominate a Magnus in mid is actually OD. Because he just goes on his cliff and keeps banishing him, and then there's no mana to even get the Shockwave off. But OD isn't really favored these days, so.
I think Mushi played it once, actually, in this tournament.
Oh, he did?
But Mushi plays, like, everything, so. Yeah. So, maybe we'll see it in another eHome game. But it wouldn't surprise me after the draft if I tell you, syndereN, that LGD is not going to come out of this laning stage with 3-4 kills and farm on all their hero, right? Because they just picked a very weak early draft.
Yeah. Their support duo doesn't really have the best of synergy. Or in a sense, Hex into Cold Feet can be good, but they're doing that against a Juggernaut. So even if they manage to land it, they won't be able to stun him long enough for him to not Blade Fury the Cold Feet, and then there's an IO behind him with Tether and a bottle. So this is impossible for them to win, actually. As long as the mid lane is going well and their Void is getting somewhat decent farm, I think they could look at a pretty good mid game, though. And that is probably what they're aiming at. But yeah, it's as far as the farm goes for now, easily favoring Vici Gaming, maybe by a little bit more than it should.
Yeah. So I guess you just take it passive if you're LGD, wait for your ults, and make a play then. And probably nothing too informative to really talk about on LGD side for the next 4 or 5 minutes. They could just play passive. Farm.
Yeah, they need to find a way of finding levels, though. I think they're... Even though they have a great AoE combination between Tide, Medusa, and Void, it's not going to cut it without an AA ult and a line with some significant levels.
That's fair.
They're not really finding that much. They're trying to pull a little bit, which is probably going to get AA level 3.5 at this point, which is good enough for now. But I'm wondering, where do they get the spike to 6 if they can't find a kill? That's going to take a long time, only with pulling, especially now that you see them contesting up there. Vici Gaming not afraid to go in and fight for the pull. Have even rotated up Fenrir to really dominate this lane and just leave Black alone at the bot lane. And those supports of LGD are going to be absolutely starved.
Yeah, I guess in theory, once Void gets his Mask of Death, he could start jungling and maybe free up the lane. But right now, you can see that Ice just going for the AA. And in fact, Yao's going to be a little bit of trouble as well. That crit did not fire off. Ice can't make up his mind. He's going between AA and the Void. And honestly, he's not too afraid of death thanks to the poor man's shield and, of course, having spin. In fact, he's leveling up spin, which is not something we see too frequently lately. Most people go for the 1-1-1 build.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you're playing with the IO in an offlane position to level it up, because you can reliably keep hitting with your Blade Fury when you have so much move speed from the tether. I believe, I can't remember the exact scaling of the abilities, I'm going to have to check that. I think it lowers the cooldown, which it does, by 4 seconds per level, so I think it's a hybrid of course, it gives more damage, but the cooldown reduction might actually be more important, so you can get 2 of them off in a fight and be able to use it faster again. Sylar is going to get jumped on. They're actually going to RP this. Very, very much commitment. Don't even know if they will be able to get this kill. He doesn't have ultimate, though. Didn't skill it.
I mean, they
It's
essentially
just
hit them
fine.
with every single ability, and he just shrugs it off. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that RP is worth it, but honestly, I don't think the RP is going to
Oh, this time Ice might not be making it out. There comes the IO, though.
Overcharge is a little bit slow, but
It's
he's
gonna
going to
be
have a
fine.
ton of regen. In fact, he might turn it around. The Blade Fury is available to cast bounces. It's going to bounce, but only once. It bounces off to the other supports. They'll just run away, because here comes Tide without too much mana. FY shit Tedo away, and he will. So just a ton of fight. Hold your thought.
This
Yao
could be
jumps
it.
forward, no bash coming in, and here comes the Blade Fury. Impale only hits on the Magnus.
Somebody die already.
Wisp
There we
finally
go.
dies. There's a first blood on Sylar of all people, and they'll back off. So I guess LGD came out ahead, but they did rotate 4 people on that kill attempt.
Yeah, it just goes to show how little damage they have right now that they actually need to rotate up Salar to find this kill. But I want to say it's worth it in the end, probably for them getting this first blood. I don't know how much more Tide could have accomplished bottom. Black is destroying him in lane after the head start he got. He has 4 times the CS of the Tide, and if Tide stands down there, Black's just going to go on him all the time.
Yeah.
And I do believe you can remove the Anchor's Mesh debuff with Dark Pact, so he can actually just really fight him head on.
So if you're in Black's position, you're farming extremely well, like you said. You know that LGD is going for some strong mid-game team fight. How would you itemize here? Would you get a little bit greedy and get the Midas? Or would you just say, I want to fight now?
I think this is the kind of game where you should aim to dominate as much as possible early. If he could tell how much farm the other heroes had, I think he would get Midas.
So
But
if this was League of Legends, then you could check out everybody's CS. You
Can
get
you?
Midas.
Can you?
I think so.
I think
That's
only
really
observers.
broken, isn't it?
I don't think you can. But
All right, we'll get our...
regardless,
Okay.
if you could see their farm, he might invest into a Midas because he can see they have a really good head start, maybe more than they feel they have. But if this was more even going into the mid game, I think this is one of the games where it's worth it to get either Shadowblade or Blink on Slark and BKB second, which we haven't
Okay.
seen that much. Slarks usually go for something like a Scotty to just tank up and expecting to be able to live through the disables, dodging 1 or 2 of them with Dark Pact and then being generally just tanky, but there's just too much stuff. There's Ravage, there's Hex, there's Impale, even being able to avoid the Cold Feet, ignore that with BKB. Mystic Snake is also not going to be a problem. So the only thing they have against the BKB is the Chronosphere and Stone Gaze.
Yes.
And Stone Gaze is a little more tricky, I think. Getting caught in the Chrono if he's in BKB is going to be just fine. But the Stone Gaze follow-up could be a problem. So
If you
I actually think it's just hard to itemize in general against that team as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're facing up against like 20 Suns, you know, BKB alone is not going to be enough. But I am behind on the BKB idea because Yao, for the most part, early on is going to do a ton of magic damage because his time lock does magical. Maelstrom, which is one of the common build, is also magical lightning proc. So I'm behind the
Ice
BKB.
Ice Ice going to get Chrono. They're going to follow through here.
Whoa!
But there's the bus!
Okay, but I think Ice 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 still died. No, in fact, did he die? Yeah, he died. He just
and
disappeared.
Shiver has arrived from in July, channeling his inner Shiver. Going to miss the Ravage entirely. We're going to have Void jump out as well. So 1 for 0 was all that came out of that. That looked like it was going to be better when Super drove in.
Whoa!
Oh, he
Ooh.
gets one.
What a snipe! He still got the haste rune, so he could going for
Oh,
a
they
little bit
really
more.
gonna go for this?
Yeah.
They're going to get all of them.
Yeah, they will.
3 right
Did they see
away.
it in July? No, the balls are not hitting him, but they actually peek him a little bit. Where's the Shockwave here? Shockwave, is he out of mana? He's not even in the fight anymore. Slark is going to be out of there. Black jumping out of the fight. Tether is going to get them out there as well. Oh, he's very low in health.
I
by the way.
think Black got 2 of those with Dark Pact, right? I believe he did claim a double kill in that
Yeah, I
exchange.
think so. They're going to go back for more. They
There's
got the
the healing
healing ward.
They're all
Oh,
good.
July's still stuck in the same.
Still hiding in the corner. But yeah, that looked like it was going to go really well for Vici Gaming when they drove in with the skewer and the start.
Oh, balls?
there it is.
Okay.
I didn't even know if he was going for that or not, but does end up finding him. So yeah, skewer into RP, they catch 2. Looked like they had the damage. Then the fight basically extends for like what seemed like 45 seconds almost until it finally ends at this point. And Vici Gaming coming out way ahead, 4,000 gold lead for them, 3K almost on the experience, and that's just that skewer into RP set them up and gave them a lot of time, and just the overall healing they're getting out. There's no Ancient Apparition even close at this point. Minute 10.5, level 4. Same for Lion. Like, these supports are just not doing any work for LGD right now.
And that goes back to what you pointed out earlier. There wasn't really a plan B for LGD, right? They couldn't... I mean, in theory, you could stack and pull, but that can only get you so far. And they didn't really get off any successful ganks. So these supports are going to be looking to be really poor for a long, long time.
And at the same time, Black is going to get really rich. As if he wasn't farming enough already, getting those 2 kills, he has decided to buy the Midas, and he's currently I guess he's planning for his next item. What do you think? I guess he won't get BKB now, at least. And maybe not even get it at all this game, because, I mean, it looks good against the heroes I listed, but there is still the Stone Gaze and the Chrono. So maybe he just tanks up really hard and gets a mobility item, either Blink or Shadow Blade. I guess that's a given, right?
Yeah.
You'll get one of those, but what do you think after that?
I think it really depends on how many outer towers you take down. Let's assume that LGD loses like their tier 1s, where Slark could start beginning to invade the enemy jungle and just go for pickoff. And I think that's where you just go for maybe more the standard Scotty build and just
Or even
roll.
an Abyssal first.
Sure, yeah. I think just at that point, he
Oh.
thought about it and then realized he can't really go for the solo kill.
He could have removed 1/4 of her mana
Yeah.
with a full on his slash.
But
Just
if the
the healing
T1s
more.
are down, I think that's the most important thing for Slark, more so than his build, because it really opens up the playing field that he could go for. But I think tanking up is important. Like, going back to what you said, there's just so many stuns. So many damage nukes
Trying
and
to
stuff.
flank here. The entirety of LGD, or at least 3 of the heroes, are smoked behind the tower, and Vici Gaming has to sense that something is up here, something's wrong. Slark gets a haste rune. He's out trying to scout them. I don't know if he broke any of their smokes there, and regardless, he wouldn't have seen it. No, he didn't break them. They're still all good behind the tower. They need a good Chrono right now so that they can win a fight and get level 6 on their support. Slark's going to go in and go out.
Okay, but they actually get him though, but there's really no follow-up. They need the Ravage. Ravage only gets like 2 or 3 in July, taking a ton of damage. Blayfair actually doing a lot. Faith dropping low. The Stone Gaze helping out a little, but they have lost the line so far. Ice, tanking damage. He still has the Omni Slash, haven't used it just yet. He's just chopping people down. They've lost the Wisp as well as the Magnus. Here comes Black, but he's taking way too much damage. He doesn't have Shadow Dance anymore. Another spin, that cooldown, like you pointed out, being leveled up really big. And Yao's gonna go down here. Ice, without using Omni Slash, still on the front line. Finally, Black's still alive. Ice still has, no, he used Omni, excuse me. And he's going to have a 3rd spin coming up soon. I think MY is going to get chased down. Oh, the Gush, slow movement speed. Ice getting impaled. Just a big cluster of a fight. In fact, Lion runs into the bosom of Juggernaut and dies.
And this fight extended for so long. Vici Gaming got 4 kills, but there's already 3 heroes still alive for LGD. 2 of them respawn. Here's the relocate. Gonna skewer into, okay, that's a pretty long skewer going for Salar. They're going to need a little more damage than this.
Shockwave. All right, big sniper. Here we go, Super. You got it.
Needs to hit this one. That's not even going to be enough, I think.
Oh,
it's going
okay.
to be just fine.
Did he get like Arcane or something? How'd you get it?
I think he might have just had lots on the stick. I
Okay.
think.
That was a weird relocate because...
Man, these fights are chaotic.
Okay, so who won that fight?
Vici for sure won that fight, but I don't think they won it that much. I think they got it. Was that 3 for 2 or 4 for 2 even? 4 for 2. They got 4 kills.
Okay,
yeah.
and the relocate being big there. Well, I'm not sure if the relocate actually got them any kills, but they came back in for more fight.
Yeah, so the thing to note in that fight is that Black opens the fight from flanking, going into the entire team, and he precast Dark Pact, so none of them want to cast their spells. The only counter they have is Void. Then he jumps out and Chronos Black, and no one can help. So if he Chronos him when he goes in, they die all 5, because then he Chronos his entire team and can't kill Black off. That's what would have happened in your average pub game. But when he Chronoed him when he ran out, the Chrono was placed so that Black was in the center of it, and that meant that the rest of the team couldn't really come in position fast enough. He needed to cast it further away. And then they end up committing half to going for Black. I think the Ravage from In July hit Black and maybe one other target.
The Magnus?
It might have hit yeah, they got Magnus as the first kill they got in that fight, but just really not ideal. LGD are looking for a way better setup than a one-man Chrono into a somewhat decent RP. They need the Wombo. They need at least 2 or 3 in the Chrono, and then building from there.
I think the big difference there was the line wasn't level 6, the AA wasn't level 6. If they had the level 6s here, the Chrono might have led to a Finger, Ice Blast, and they get that kill clean, and maybe would have taken a much better fight, but the early problem of this greedy LGD draft is really plaguing them. And is this line ever going to find 6?
Well, it's 15 minutes in. It's pretty unusual for MMY to be level 4 at minute 15. It's kind of unreal, actually. He's almost always finding his levels, but this has really not been his game. He has 1 assist and 3 deaths. AA, fortunately, with that level 6, is going to do some work, but I agree, Finger of Death is needed. They don't have single target damage. They don't kill the single targets fast enough to really get an advantage and be able to push through in the fight. So getting that is going to be crucial. They could get it. The thing is, when he's so low level, if they find 1 kill, he probably gets level 6 from that alone.
But they just haven't found any kills.
Found a kill yet.
At least not before he dies. And he's been, unfortunately dying.
What do you think about the Jugger build?
Yeah, I was going to say, I really like this build. I know we see a lot of
Takes us back.
The stats. But it's really refreshing to see that the spin being spammed constantly in these fights, and I think he got off almost 3 in that fight.
Sylar got a haste.
Well,
He's running for FY. He's going to try to TP out. Will probably make it. Oh, almost getting the gush.
I'm
off
surprised
there,
how
actually.
quickly Sylar is attacking.
Yeah, what does he have?
Just
He has only phase boots, actually. No
skewers.
attack speed at all.
Well, he's tanking the Omni Slash. In fact, speed. He's actually just right-clicking, but he's taking more damage from the spin. Here comes the Ravage. They really need to bring down Ice, but he's very tanky thanks to the poor man shield.
Oh, what a precast Hex from MMY, though.
RP under the Death Ward. They're doing so much damage here. Tidehunter's going to go down. Dusa dropping fast as well. Or 2-3-man Impale's going to hit. Blink 4 here from Black. He does have the mobility item. He gets 1 kill, and he's looking for a little bit more. Super on the front line gets 1 shockwave kill, and MMY, ironically, is the only person that survives the fight, and he almost gets to level 6 because, well, they got the kill, but they will lose the T1 tower.
Man, MMY deserves to live after that Hex.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how he was level 4, and he does everything he can with the 1 level of Hex he has in that level 2 Earth Spike. Precasting the Hex, seeing that Magnus is probably going to blink RP, does not manage to get that off, but even then, like, if he gets the blink RP, that teamfight's already over. 5-man wipe. So at the very least, they got a trade, but it wasn't a good one. Man, this game is getting out of hand.
I'm more surprised that LGD decided to take that fight. There was... What do you think was the reason for them to choose that? I mean, they had a haste on Dusa, and a Wisp just poured it out. So essentially 4v5 for momentarily.
Yeah, he can just relocate back in.
Right. So, I mean, Magnus RP was up, Omni Slash was up. So it was just an interesting choice that they decided to take a fight in front of the enemy T1, and it didn't work out for them.
I think they're just getting so desperate to land some sort of combo with their spells that whenever they see multiple heroes in a lane, they just try to go for the fight. But Vici Gaming are doing a good job of spreading out. Speaking of which, they're spreading the map. Black easily getting a kill here together with Super, finishing it off with the Shockwave.
Yeah.
He's going to get an Empower as a reward. Thank you for the kill, Black. And then he's going to run down. Maybe farm a little bit here. No. Still just on the hunt. Went for the Blink Dagger.
Yep.
I think it's a better choice than the Shadow Blade in this case. Shadow Blading into the LGD squad is very scary when there's an instant Hex. When there's the Chronosphere that can detect you in the Invis as well and just burst you down. So.
I mean, the defensive part of the Shadow Blade, like you said, is quite useless. So if you're thinking purely for a offensive capability, I think Blink is better, right? It almost guarantees a proc on your jump.
Oh, a nice skewer.
Well,
it's going to get him into RP. Stonegaze did go off, though. I don't think they could kill him, and this could turn out to be a huge mistake. Great 4-man chrono from Yao. With the Mystic Snake, too. They better get something out of this. Oh, Finger of Death is up.
There you go. Cast
thought?
instant kill. Black trying to get some damage out, but he needs to blink out soon. Does he have it? Impale's going to miss. He Dark Packs it. Blink off cooldown very, very soon, but the Hex finds him, and they're going to get a very, very key kill on Black. I say that. He still jumps out. And finally, a double kill off the back of a 4-man chrono. I think it was... the Wisps that tried to relocate somebody out, but in order to relocate them out, he had to tether, but he tethered into the chrono, which made it a 4-man chrono. And off the back of that, they have a mech on the Tidehunter, and Mask of Madness on Void, all of these items coming out. That's a huge fight for LGD.
Yeah, I think it's a big mistake for Magnus to try to, out of all heroes you can skewer in, don't take the Dusa. She's going to, while you skewer, she's going to get ready to Stone Gauge. She will get it off before you RP. And it just countered the entire engagement there. Ice got the spin off, but he couldn't follow through because he was getting stoned. And I mean, at the end of the day, that just set up the easiest chrono of LGD's life there, which is it's kind of funny that that's what it took. But if Vici Gaming dives too far, look at how much they just gave back there. That's the rubber band right there. If you're far ahead, you can fall just as far very quickly with a bad fight.
And something to be said about this Juggernaut build, because he's gone for the more fighting build, his farming capability in the mid game is going to suffer a little bit. And when you lose a fight like that and losing this particular tier 1, you can't just look at Slark as a solo carry, because, I mean, Mag is not going to be the carry of choice. So Ice is going to have to pick up the slack, and his build is not really suited for that. So can't really give away too many.
Blade Fury.
Okay, that's nice spin damage. Dusa's going to stand in front and fight you back. Well, he's got... Is that Scotty finish? There's just so many icy slow stuff. Oh, that's a 3-man RP! Opener. Push him back. Ravage just set things up. Ice Blast on the back line here. Whole bunch of spells going off, and Juggernaut still spinning for a little bit of damage on the mid. Let's see how much he needs to clean up. In fact, he's actually getting stunned. He's getting right-click the Death Ward on the front line to relocate back out. Ice still alive. Is he going to come back in the fight? And Black is on cleanup duty as well. Dusa on the front line right-clicking away, but Ice just chomping him down. Dusa forced to TP out. Omni Slash cancel the TP here, and they actually relocate back in the fight a little bit forward here. And Dusa is going to go down. What an RP to start things off here for Vici Gaming. Huge plays.
And FY just saving that fight entirely. The RP was great. They got 3, but one of them was the Tide, and Kraken Shield takes him out of it. He gets a 3-man Ravage in return. Key points of that fight, no Void Chrono available.
Yeah,
they didn't have the Chrono, and FY saved it. If that relocate doesn't come through, they lose the Juggernaut. They probably lose IO too, unless he just ran away, and maybe Black there as well. So FY with the big plays as per usual, and it looks like it's going to give them a Roshan kill here as well, so Black will be getting a lot out of this one. I guess they will be giving him the Aegis.
Well, they're not taking it so fast. Ice Splash is not being used into the Roshan pit, which I find it surprising. But yeah, big FY play. Slark's going to pick up the Aegis, and is he building Ultimate Orbs? I imagine that's going to be the build.
Oh, we're going to see. He's sitting on so much gold now. If he wanted an Ultimate Orb, he should be buying it now without... That's not even going to dig into his reliable gold, I would think so.
So... you think it's going to be something
Is
Basher?
it going to be? Oh, wow. He had 2.7k reliable. Holy, okay.
He's got a ton of gold from hero kills, I imagine.
Yeah.
So.
That's a lot of reliable gold. Well, I think...
I mean, if you look over to Ice, he's not doing...
It's difficult to build on Slark in this game. It's like you want so much... You need, like, everything. So, in a sense, it's maybe easy. You just buy one of everything, right? But maybe the best solution for now is the Skadi. Could be. Just being overall tanky might be the best choice.
A little bit of tank, a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
But I'm looking over to the Juggernaut, and he's going for, you know, the Manta style, which is the flavor of the month, I suppose. But, again, that's not very much damage. So...
And it's also really not good against LGD's lineup. That's
right.
a little surprising to me. He might not upgrade the Yasha. He did get the spin-off, so no follow-up available yet, but
well.
okay, now there is.
They'll burst him down.
Still cost them a Chrono. Their tier 2 is being pushed at the same time. Slark as well as IO going to work. Overcharge running. And Black can just tank up for days with this earn charge as well. So looks like they might just be getting the tower off this unless there's some response. And here comes the response. They got about half of it for a Juggernaut. If you're Vici Gaming, I think you're okay with this. They used a Chrono for the solo Jugger kill and you got half for tier 2, and that's pretty much all that happened while Mag is free farming bottom. That's
sure, yeah.
That's not good. Once again, it's not enough for LGD. You make that play if you see it, right? You go for that Chrono. It's not like he shouldn't have quote unquote wasted the Chrono, because it's not a waste, but they want more than this.
Yeah, and unfortunately there isn't more to be gotten because the Roshan is not available for them to take. They don't have the creep waste push for, you know, maybe a little bit of damage on the enemy tier 2, so like you say, you take the play, but you know, you don't get much more than the single hero kill.
And then you definitely make sure that what's about to maybe happen does not happen, because now they do not want a team fight to break out again without Chrono.
Yes.
With a good RP. Magnus is trying to get in position. The high ground ward, I do believe there's only a Radiant ward in the neighborhood, as it looks like. So they don't know where Magnus is right now, and it's making them very scared. They're going to pull back behind the tier 2, playing it passively while Void pushes up top and maybe gets some sort of split push going, but it just takes really long for this Void right now to even push out the creep wave, as Solar will be standing in front alone. Will be tanking easily. They can't really go on him, but, well, okay, Ice. That's... I mean, why not?
Is he baiting out some spells or something? He's got the Wisp back up.
Alright, he used his Skadi. Let's go.
Alright, well... sorry, for a second I thought Magnus blinked forward and made that same play. Really hard to push against Dusa when he's... Oh, Blink Skewer, gonna miss.
I don't even know if that would have been good if it hit, to be honest.
Yeah, the Stone Gaze is gonna make everybody...
He made that mistake once, and he's trying for it again. And even though there's no Chrono, there actually is now, and Void could have poured it in and maybe landed one, although his mana is fairly low with this high mana cost Chrono, but... Yeah. I really, as tempting as it may be for the Magnus to do this, I think it's a too high-risk play to skewer in the Medusa. Because let's say you put everything into the Medusa kill. I still think she actually doesn't die. There is a Skadi up. Juggernaut does not have enough damage to go through the mana shield yet. Maybe he goes Manta Style into Diffusal. That could perhaps be the reasoning. And then even though the Manta Style gets countered out by all these AoE abilities, if you can hold it long enough, that could be a way of piercing the mana shield. That would be a nice choice, I think. But
play a little bit of anti-mage with Juggernaut.
Yep.
Burn that shield a bit.
He has real good base attack time, so he burns the mana very quickly. And of course, during the Omni Slash, it's guaranteed that he will get some hits off his FY. Does get caught out. Easy kill.
Now, no Chrono being expended, and they're going to do a little bit of pushing on the bottom now.
This is a free tower for sure.
There's something to be said that for the past 5 minutes, Vici had pretty good map control. And with a Slark on your team, you just shut down wards from the enemy side. So LGD, before the random kill here, and Chrono is going to be used on Ice again. Ice Blast going to come in. Is it going to hit? Yes, in fact, it will. And there you go, the finger.
Whoa, okay.
They're using a lot for these kills, but Faith is going to go down. Whoa, hold that thought. They get the Hex off. Impel to follow up. Ravaging even being used. Do they even get the kill with the Ravage? He jumps on the left side here.
Boy.
Do they actually see him? He's regenerating a lot. Blinking on the low ground.
Kill him,
I'm not sure if you want to get there here. MMY turns back.
I really think Vici should have tried to go for that play. They still have the Aegis on Black. They might as well try to use that for a fight there. Hang on, he used RP, right?
Yes.
He RP'd the ground? Or what?
I think so.
I didn't see anyone get RP'd. He might have messed up the blink, because that's probably the reason Vici Gaming pulled out of that, else that could have been a fight of theirs. But, well, nice escape from Black at the very least at the end of that. They do lose the Juggernaut, but will claim the mid-tier 2, although it's only a deny claimed by Solar.
All right, hindsight's 20/20. What if you decide to not leap out and die there on purpose? You have Aegis. You wait for your team to come in.
If your Magnus RPs the ground, I think it's better to jump out.
The RP did not hit the ground, ideally.
The thing is, even when he jumped out, I think the setup for the RP was there, and Super could have just skewered them down to Black.
Right. Okay.
After
fair
he
enough.
jumped out, so I think he should have definitely done what he did there. That's just a misplay. It happens with the Blink Dagger these days, especially. Have you felt that too when you play? That I read about it, and then I talked about it, and some people said it's a myth and it doesn't happen. It just feels like Blink Dagger messes up more than it used to. It seems like sometimes, even if you've turned your hero entirely and you click Blink, sometimes it's just some weird delay that was reported, and I don't know if it's been fixed or not, but some people are still talking about it. And we see these pro players who play on an extremely high level and play a lot. I just don't recall seeing these many whiff blinks as blink combos as we've seen these days.
It hasn't happened to me, so I'm going to call myth on that.
Okay.
But TIE Hunter is going to go down here. Well, Impale's going to help a little bit. Here comes a Magnus. But
I have no escape for him.
Let's give away the TIE.
Actually gets driven into the ward. That was pretty cool. The shots just became shorter and shorter.
More and more damage.
Basically died from cracking his head into the ward there.
Do you push off of this knowing that there is a chrono?
No, because they don't know if Tide has buyback, which he does, and
he doesn't have to RP or Ravage.
The question is if they've timed it that precisely. We're down to a 30-second cooldown.
Yeah.
And maybe they know, and even then, Medusa can still hold for 30 seconds. And then suddenly, if you're committing to the push, you could end up in a really nasty situation. So, going high ground against LGD's team is an absolute nightmare. It's very difficult, and I think what Vici might need to resolve to is split pushing, because that's something LGD do not deal with that well.
Right, but the reason I ask this, I feel like if you're Vici Gaming, you have this innate clock going, right? You're trying to break base against Dusa, who is by far the most late game carry in this. Well, you could argue that Slark could kind of go toe-to-toe with Dusa, depending on how the fight goes. But going from how the Hellraiser versus eHome game went, we saw what Dusa could do if you give him 20 more minutes of farm. Especially being backed up by Chrono and Ravage. Like, you gotta be worried.
That game did not have 2 melee carries with Empower, though.
That's true.
For HR. So this, however strong the Slark was in that game, Black actually has potential to go beyond that.
Okay.
He's not as farmed as Artez was in that game on the Slark, because that Slark was like 20-0 at minute, what was that? Minute 50 or maybe 55. He was extremely strong. Pretty much fully stacked up, but Black will get there, and he can farm faster than Slark regularly does because of the Empower if he wants. I think if you're Vici Gaming now, you just calm down a little bit. You just keep farming, controlling the map. Look at LGD just stacking up as a bunch of 5, because that's all their lineup can really do at this point.
Right.
And if they don't find anything, you just out-farm them. They can even split push. They could run the IO +1 bottom while the other heroes are top, and then reinforce with the relocate.
Yeah.
They just need vision. That's all Vici Gaming needs to win this game.
And they are definitely doing a good job denying vision to LGD. Again, if you go to dire vision, there is not much of it, right? I imagine on the.
I don't think they have single ward out. They only have sentries. So.
Slark, man, what an OP hero.
That night vision too.
They want it. They're making the skewer play again.
He really wants to keep going on Sylar. I am puzzled by this. It does not make sense to me.
As the game goes later and later, that play works less and less, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And well, now the Magnus does have a BKB, so he can RP, and then instead of just getting ravaged, he can actually get a little bit of damage out with the Shockwave. I don't think that's going to be making that big of a difference though, because it's still the Chrono that is just going to lock them in place and get them killed. I don't know. Is he? Let's imagine. Okay, what if you blink skewer Medusa?
You don't commit to RP,
and you just run away, and you force a reaction from LGD. Maybe you bait out an AA ultimate that hits the ground. Maybe you bait out, especially if a Ravage gets whiffed.
Well, you definitely get out the Stone Gaze, because I'm pretty sure.
And the Stone Gaze, of course, exactly. So you blink Skewer, forcing the Stone Gaze, and then you just force Staff away. Because Magnus has that, and even if he gets in more trouble, he also has BKB. There's another one. So Black will get it this game. After the Scotty, does feel like it's worth it. I feel like we see BKB very little on Slark these days. Is it just because teams don't pick enough Disable, or is Dark Pact just that good?
I think Slark gets snowbally enough that he just feels like he could skip it. Like, for example, last game, where we saw the Slark go 18-0, I don't think BKB was ever necessary. At the same time, that game, he didn't have to deal with a Blink Hex line. So I think this game, he's just respecting the fact that MMY will get him eventually, and BKB is very much so necessary. We saw that the last game as well. They started building some late game Lincolns. They recognize that you just need some spell protection. So I think BKB is very underrated on Slark and should be purchased a little bit more.
Yep. Gonna see if it works out well this game. There's obviously a lot to be blocked, as we mentioned earlier. It's one of those games where there's two abilities that pierce BKB, but you can't even get Lincolns against those. Stone Gaze does not get proc by Lincolns, neither does Chronosphere, so in some cases you're going to see carries build both just because the Lincolns counters that one ability that really messes you up. The best example is probably Primal Roar of Beastmaster, where you get BKB and Lincolns, and then you just seem, for those 10 seconds the BKB is on, you're actually invulnerable, pretty much. Or immortal, not invulnerable. That would be crazy. But in this case, not going to be that easy to use the BKB. That's another thing. I mean, it's great to have it, but when do you pop it? Just right when you go in, you just pop it. Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Every single time. And
hopefully when you're, like, if you just go in with Shadow Dance alone and you just get Chrono, then you actually might just die before you even come out of that Chrono. Things of, you know, Ice Blast and getting clipped by the Ravage, just getting shattered. So maybe just go in and pop the BKB.
LGD will be going for the Roshan. The relocate from Io and Juggernaut is available. They're currently split pushing the top tier 2. It looks like they know this is going on, by the way. The ping is coming out from Super. They do not have any vision inside the pit. No invisible summons or anything like that. So Black Slark might have to blink in and open. He's going to do exactly that. Going on to Sylar. There's the RP. Yao is going to drop before he maybe even gets the chrono off. Nice mech, though. Could be able to get something out. Will even just jump out himself.
They didn't even have to Ravage that. Right now, LGD has everything active. They're going to throw everything here on the Witch Doctor. He gets 4 staff away. Meanwhile, Black is man-fighting Medusa, but he's not winning that man-fight.
LGD, your base.
Oh, Skewer's going to come through here. No RP, but the Skewer alone is going to be enough. The Ravage is going to come out, canceling the Death Ward. But meanwhile, Black, he's been hitting for the past 30 seconds. The Essence Shift stack, he's got 18 so far. Meanwhile, like you said, the base is taking a ton of damage on the top here. Split push was your call, and that's exactly what they did. They get the Raxus, and they get the Roche.
What a sick outplay from Vici Gaming. They actually kept the fight in the Roche pit 3-on-5 for 20 seconds without dying.
Yep.
They got a full lane of Rax meanwhile, and their only casualties are Magnus and Io. They get 3 kills, Roche and Rax, for a support and a mid laner.
So
that could not have gone any better for them. That was amazing.
What we didn't see on the screen was Wisp relocating the Juggernaut top. Is that what happened? Is that how they got the Rax?
They were actually just pushing the whole time, and then they relocated into the fight.
Okay.
They relocated in, and Juggernaut Omni/Dusa to her death toward the end of the fight. The crazy thing about that is, I don't even think Vici Gaming needed to relocate in the Jugger. I think they were actually winning the fight 3-on-5.
Sure.
That's incredible.
And the start was Black just jumping in and just man-fighting, and if you just commit the Chrono just for the Slark, or the Ravage just for the Slark, sure, you may kill the Slark, but you just lose that fight flat out as well, right?
Yeah, there's just, they need too much to happen. That's the problem. Slark can create so incredibly much space, and if they use everything on him, well, first of all, he might have a buyback. Yep. Then he just comes back into the fight. At the same time, you're being split pushed that you also need to deal with, and that's also hard to deal with your big AoE ultimates on cooldown. It's just, it seems like at this point, LGD, like, you look at their lineup, and you imagine that 5-on-5 teamfight where they just destroy it, Vici Gaming, but it never happens on those terms. It's generally the downfall of the 5-on-5 wombo combo at very high skill level is that teams, of course, recognize that that's the threat, and they just make sure to split out the fight. And that's why Slark was actually a very nice last pick, because he is the one that can go in with the confidence and just open the fight and start creating some chaos and splitting it out. And the moment it's split out, it's almost already won for Vici.
Yeah, you know how when you said Tidehunter blinked in and popped off a great mech to save his allies?
Yeah.
I think during that time, he also wanted to drop out the Ravage. But the only people he could Ravage was...
I think it was only Black.
The Slark that had BKB turned on.
Yeah.
And the Magnus that had a BKB turned on. So if Slark didn't get that BKB, the fight might have turned much differently.
And there's something we haven't really talked about that we need to keep in mind. Black jumps on the Dusa and keeps hitting the Dusa.
Yeah.
So you can't really chrono Black without chronoing Sylar unless you place it perfectly. And that means who's going to kill Black when the chrono lands? If he's in BKB, only Void can hit. He does not have the damage yet whatsoever. And all the other heroes can't do anything about it.
RP being used?
Okay, they might follow through. There we go. There's the Omni Slash as well as Dark Pact jumping in. Pounds as well. Well, Sylar will be getting out. Use the Stone Gaze. They only got the AA kill, but it might be enough for now. Okay, Black is not done.
Black's got Aegis. He's not afraid.
Okay, now he's done. Might be rotating to mid. They could try for this tower.
I mean, again, at this point, you could just kill Black, but you can't kill him twice, right? Without
No, they just can't.
So if you're Vici gaming here and you know that, you just start hitting Raxus or hitting tier 3s.
Oh, Black has 7,000 gold, by the way. Just a peripheral comment. He could buy a full Abyssal if he wanted.
Okay.
So going in.
Black taking a
Not
little
using
bit
Dark Pact, actually. That's going to cost him a lot of health. But
well, he's a Slark.
he's Slark. He's going to get it back fast. I wonder how much he heals per second with Witch Doctor heal, Tether, and Healing Ward.
168 per second.
That's without the Healing Ward.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, let's...
no, that 168 is just his passive, because it doesn't show the other ones.
The Tether regen, yeah.
He might heal like 500 per second with a Tether, Overcharge, and heal. The Juggernaut Healing Ward on top of that, because that also heals Wisp, which in turn heals Slark.
I wonder if
He's
game log
immortal.
if game log shows how much you get healed for a second.
Yeah.
Maybe we could check it out later on.
That's absurd amounts of healing that they get out of that. IO and Juggernaut as a pairing is very powerful in that regard. So, well, anyway, they got the AA kill. They didn't really manage to get a tower, but they committed the RP, which I think will be ready soon. It's 30 seconds on that. I guess they're just going to wait for that and then try to make the opening. Juggernaut sitting on an MKB. No Butterfly on Dusa yet, but she does have the Talisman of Evasion, which is, of course, useless against the Juggernaut. Slark will be picking up the Abyssal Blade as expected.
Now, is there a ray of hope for LGD? You are fighting up high ground. That's where these big AoE ultimate gets much better. That's where Dusa gets much better as well, but...
They need to win 3 team fights in a row.
Okay.
That's enough. And
well,
very unlikely.
You make it sound very easy. RP solo, but it looks like... I mean, look at that support on the back line. He doesn't die yet next to the mech. He's got the Ghost Scepter as well. Jump forward. No Chrono being expended. They actually bash him Chrono, and he walked into the Chrono. I'm not sure what that's about, but they actually bring him down. The Age is going to come down. Ice, 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 dies. The Death Ward, though, it's being bounced left and right. Skewer's not going to hit on anything. You know, they defended. They didn't really lose anybody, but unfortunately, Black is back in the fight, and your tier 3 is being sieged.
Yeah, they used all their ultimates, so Juggernaut could actually buy back now, and they could probably end the game. They're going to play it safe, though, without buying back and just run out. They do get an effigy destroyed, so massive accomplishment, and close to the tier 4 at top. That's all they got.
That's an LGD win, though.
That's definitely an LGD win, and that's also as good as it's going to get, though.
Right, but when you say they need to win 3 fights in a row, that doesn't really count.
No, they need to win 10 of these.
Okay, but that's a step in the right direction.
They need, yeah, so... 3-1 team, they're 20,000 gold behind, right? So if they get a 5-man wipe, they probably gain like 6 or 7k, and then the next fight, because the difference is smaller, maybe they get 5,
okay,
and then they get 4. If their lineup is like 5,000 gold behind, they can easily fight, but like 20k is just out of the question. They need to land things perfectly. Like they're a really good 2-man Chrono. They got the AA ult, Ravage was good as well. Yeah. I don't think Vici Gaming can give them a better situation than that one, unless they like really want to. So it's a very tall order.
Just a shout out to Yao, though. Another very good usage of the mech. It looked like MMY was going to get dropped very quickly, but the mech led into the Ghost Scepter, led into the fact that, you know, he was able to survive and whatnot.
It's actually, in July, is working on the refresher. Still quite a way to go, though, so... That's going to change things. If they get two Ravages, that could make a big difference, but it's quite far down the line. I think he needs about 3,500 gold for it at this point, or something like that, and... At the same time, Magnus is going to have 2 RPs, so I guess who does that favor most? Probably Vici Gaming, because they have the BKBs.
Yep.
So.
And I don't expect, you know how you said the fights as getting good as it gets? I don't expect Ice 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 to just randomly die.
No.
Before getting off his ult. I think that's kind of like the best case scenario for LGD, and I don't think you're going to find another one like that.
Well, there's the Butterfly. It's a start. As mentioned, Juggernaut does have True Strike with the MKB. Slark does not. He has Abyssal, so... That's still, even that evasion, I think Black still will get, he has pretty good attack speed, especially once the fight extends and he gets to steal a lot of stats and get a lot of agility. He hits hard, so, I mean.
I think this Blink, I don't want to say it's the nail on the coffin, but it allows Ice to go with the Slark and start pinpointing those supports.
Yeah,
Or
I
you-
think Lion did have Ghost Scepter last fight,
Yes,
right?
he does.
Yeah, so that's how they stayed in that fight, because
Yes.
Slark would have insta-killed MMY in the beginning. Maybe he won't let that happen this time. He has the Abyssal, which he did last fight. He might have just not noticed. If you blink Abyssal's Lion, he should probably kill him during that.
Oh, in fact,
mid
they initiate-
lane.
I'm not sure if they get to
try
kill.
for this. They have relocate the whole time. He's not going to use it, though. They wait way too long. Big mistake from Vici Gaming. Probably going to lose FY as well in this
Well,
process.
Dropping
Whoa.
low,
Yeah,
one more
he's
hit.
dead.
Okay.
That's a double kill for Medusa.
Ice. He's a little bit of trouble. He gets Chrono just on the edge. That's going to allow Lion to stack things like Earth Spike as well as Hex. They don't even need the Hex. That's a one fight in my book.
That's just sloppy, though. But that is indeed that we can count that as one of those.
Okay, that's
one of
alright.
the 3 they need.
1.5, counting the other one earlier.
Let's see how much gold this gives them. I'm gonna assume this is about a 5k swing, maybe 6, because they got a couple of really big kills there. I think there might have been a streak. The graph is not updated yet, obviously, as it turns out, but we're starting to see the dip. They just can't do that. I mean, split pushing as they're doing is fine, but they really thought Black could tank more than he could, and then the relocate was too late. They end up getting caught, both of them, and give a couple of freebies to LGD. And if there's one lineup you don't want to give freebies to on the defense, it's Void Medusa lineups.
Well, I think
They will outscale them late game. Even 2 melee carries with Empower cannot beat Void Medusa late game.
I think it's just mostly the Dusa, right? If you look over to Void, he's building more utility in a sense, right? He's got the Aghanim Scepter build, which just for the little bit more chrono duration. But yeah, I
And
agree.
the cooldown.
Yeah, and the cooldown.
Especially.
The cooldown actually matters quite a bit here.
It's 60 seconds, which means...
I
they
mean, it's
can't
80 to
just-
60, right? So
I think it's 100 to 60. So they can't just... The cooldown that was changed a
Yeah.
while ago. So they can't just buy back and go again, knowing that Chrono's down. Because the time it takes them to get to the base again is pretty much a new Chrono. Not that they've tried to do that previously, but... Yeah, that extra second duration should not be underestimated either. It's more time for Dusa to lay into them. She will be getting a damage item next. And the question is what Salar is thinking if he's going for a... We've seen Daedalus sometimes if you want to really... Of course, the crits can't proc on the split shot, but it will proc on the main target. So then you do very heavy damage to a single target and a lot of split damage to the others. Or you can get the MKB, which gives you True Strike against all targets, but there's no evasion yet on Vici Gaming. But of course, the MKB can only proc on the main target as well. It's probably going to be either of those two unless you go just all in and buy the Rapier, which... I mean, I still feel like LGD are so pressured that that's the best pickup, but I don't know if they feel the same way.
I mean, maybe after winning that fight, they see a ray of hope and don't want to go all YOLO, but...
Yeah. It's
mean, I
still
think
hard
Divine
to
might be-
imagine Vici Gaming making that kind of mistake so many times as they have to.
How do you see Mjolnir as a late game damaging item choice?
So the Chain Lightning will obviously only proc on the main attack. It gives good attack speed. Does she have enough damage for that attack speed to be very valuable? What's her damage sitting at right now? I think
Well,
it's
she's got a double damage, so it's not
I
very
think that's
accurate.
expired already. So
Okay,
there we
so-
go. So 200 damage with a Mjolnir.
Maybe not so much.
Compared to Daedalus, that will give her about 100 plus the powerful crit. I think Daedalus is just a better choice. She has
Yeah.
good attack speed too. Lots of agility. Look at that. She has plus 104 on that agility. So about 200 agility coming the way of Medusa. More than enough attack speed.
Oh, looks like the fight's gonna break
the
out
AO.
right now. Relocate defensively. That Magnus RP is looking for a Ravage gonna come out. BKB disjoints that Ravage. Where's second Ravage coming out? He actually refreshed, but out of mana on the back line here. It's a Slark that's dead. It's a Juggernauts that's dead. Jumping forward here, looking for a Chrono. This is skewer backwards, but he also dies. Count that one for another win fight for LGD. I'm not sure why there's so many Dusa comebacks, but this could be another one.
This is crazy. Like that this is happening. There we go.
That's a Divine.
Love it.
Nice.
That's the right choice. Okay, now here's
Oh,
why
and
this
it's
is
a Roche.
important. They're gonna get Roche too. So they get the Aegis for the Dusa. She now has the Rapier, which, if you look at how much payout you get per gold, Rapier is the best item in the game, right?
Is that better
how
than
much
GG Branch? Like,
yes. It's even
okay.
better than Branch, I would
Okay.
say. So, or is it? Yeah, it is. So they're going to have to kill the Dusa twice, which right now they're struggling to even take a proper team fight.
Right.
And the requirements for LGD's execution just dropped 50%. Like, they just need to hit a somewhat decent Ravage and a somewhat decent Chrono, and Dusa will make work of them. Vici just made 2 huge mistakes in a row that, even though LGD are probably about 10 to 15k gold behind at this point, I want to say LGD is almost leading the game now.
I think Dusa is one of those heroes that you
XP
can
is
be
0.
10k behind and still do fine, especially when you have the item that she has. So
Man, this is going to be... This might be the biggest loss of the tournament. I don't think there's been a team ahead by 20k yet that ended up losing the game. And
Well, Hellraiser last
were
game.
they 20k ahead? I don't think
They
so.
had 18-0 start. They had to be like
I don't even think they were that far
astronomically
ahead.
ahead.
There was a lot of farm on the other team as well.
That's
though, but-
true. Okay, well,
Well, Salar, here we go. This takes me back some years. Duza Rapier frontline. ZSMJ memories, anyone? It's going to start hitting the tower.
because ZSMJ had 2.
That's true. He needs another
So
one.
not yet. And all the ultimates are still available on Vici Gaming. So if they find a good one, but again, how do you initiate into this team? Because Dusa is only one sitting on the front line. Yeah, the Raxus is just being forfeited. Are they going to do a little bit of shenanigan on the back line?
Instant hits
Oh my
again!
god, MMY, he's just playing too good. Magnus dies. I'm not sure whether he has buyback. Wisp's going to get exploded, and Dusa still full health, full mana, right-clicking on the front line.
This game might end now. This
And
is
yeah,
unbelievable.
You just go throne, right?
They could just go throne. There is... Because what else would they do? The tier 2s are standing on the
Yeah.
sidelines. They're going to force buybacks? Oh, wait, you don't have buybacks. Great, guys. Let's just take this win you've handed over to... I mean, this is crazy. I want to say MMY has really been pulling off some amazing hexes that have put them in a great position. They suddenly just figured out how to play this from a defensive standpoint and managed to pull it off. And one thing we
Well,
haven't
on the
talked
back
about...
line,
Oh, okay.
Slark trying to do some work, but immediately he actually stuns Abysso. He's trying to go for Yao, but doesn't matter. In fact, they chrono
Great
him,
chrono, too.
and then they're going to just burst everything on him. Deathward is actually bouncing around and doing a significant amount of damage, but they're going to just run through, tank everything, kill the Witch Doctor. There's a buyback on Black. Maybe they won't get the... no, they're going to just keep going for it.
If they do this very well, they will hold. They're going to hold. I think LGD pulls back now. They're 5-on-4. Okay, Black's going to go in.
Oh.
Uh-oh, that's not good if he dies now. That's probably game.
Still alive. Magnus is back in 1 second. Can they hold? Yeah, the drone's not going to die as a revolt. And second Ravage, Ice is going to die. I'm not sure whether he has buyback. The Magnus RP is going to come through. He only gets one. MMY is there again to drop off Impale Super, trying to do a little bit of work. But look at that Dusa. She's not movable. She's just right-clicking away. Is Aegis even used yet? I'm not sure. GG's being called. And Vici Gaming, another throw against Dusa Gaming? I'm not sure.
That was... I don't even know where to start. The question is if Vici Gaming felt how far ahead they were. Because the gold graph is one thing, but another thing is what the players feel like in the game. If they can, like, figure out what the threats are, what their strengths are, and how they really stand in the game. If you're playing this kind of LGD lineup from behind and you're 10k behind at this, like, 50 minutes in, you're not really behind.
Right.
So I want to say Vici Gaming had an incredibly big lead. They should have definitely won the game. They made 2 big mistakes that they can't afford toward the late game, and then they got in a lot of trouble. But I want to say part of the loss for Vici Gaming was after their first teamfight mistake, they might not really have been able to determine where the game was going at that point. They might have misunderstood
So you're saying
what
it's
their
like,
situation was.
okay, that's a bad fight, but we're still really ahead.
Yeah, we're still way far ahead. We can just go again. That was okay. And then they mess up again, and then suddenly, oh, wait. Oh, Dusa has a rapier. Maybe we're not that far ahead anymore.
And that's already too late.
The RPs also just fell off. I don't think Super got a single good RP off after the 20-minute mark, maybe. In the late game, the RPs just weren't there. They hit maybe one target, but the Lion also counterplayed him, but he had a BKB. They have to land those RPs.
I mean,
it's just not good enough.
It's just much harder for him to do it because you talked about how Dusa's team's execution had to drop.
Yeah.
I think once there's a divine on the Dusa, your Magnus execution has to be like twice as difficult.
But it should have never gone to that point.
Right.
Like, a good RP before the rapier comes ends the game. BKB into RP, 2 or 3 heroes, game over.
And they had to
But they
lose
never
2 catastrophic team fights just
well,
for that
you
rapier
said
to
3
even come
fights,
out.
right?
Yeah, well,
It
that's what
wasn't
they
even
got.
3. It was just like 2.5, right?
Yeah, I
2
guess.
Ender Roshan.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, 3.
Roche
Yeah,
counts
okay.
for a fight.
Sure.
I don't know.
They got a lot. Vici Gaming should have won, but
Yeah.
well, LGD having a bounce back day number 2.
Yeah, and actually this is one of those wins of course LGD needs, but looking at LGD, you're still... they need more. This is just 2-3 for them, I think.
But they do start to look a little scary now. They take down Vici Gaming. They should have beaten EG yesterday. They had a significant lead going in
Well, the
the
thing
middle
is,
of
like,
that
how
game.
scary do they look, though? Right? 'Cause
They
yes,
they're one of those teams that just like
If
finds a way to win.
if you just in isolation look at the result, then it's like, oh, they beat Vici Gaming. They almost beat EG yesterday. Okay, they're looking pretty good, but this game, the early game, was really not.
But that
crisp
draft
at all.
wasn't really designed to start off
Well,
high.
even when it was
like they were
supposed to.
supposed to fall behind.
When they hit their level 6s, they also just got totally outplayed in addition to that. Like, the fights got split up. They never landed their combos.
Well,
and then
hold up.
all of a sudden, on high ground, they managed
Hold
to.
up,
But-
syndereN.
Part of that was brilliant play by F.
Yeah,
the
sure.
Wisp, though.
Vici Gaming played really well. Until it was like, Vici Gaming plays really
It's
well.
not like there were 5 heroes just sitting there and they're just like
obviously.
Completely airballed a Chrono.
So Vici Gaming play well 30 minutes, and then they swapped around. So then LGD suddenly gets some. They just steal their skill over, and then they play Vici Gaming skill, and then they get LGD.
That's their
skill.
strength. As the game goes longer, they siphon out their opponent's skill. And
to me,
by the time it gets
that
late,
wasn't
there's
the
nothing
level
left.
6 on the Void or Magnus. That was level 6 on the Lion.
And
he didn't hit it till like what 18 minutes in.
Yeah, he was so far behind.
And the fact that he got 18-minute level 6 or whatever, ended the game with Blink Ghost and was able to cast off some beautiful Hexes, Impale, and the finger kills. MMY, MVP for me this game. Even though it was
MMY used to play solo mid Lion.
Yeah?
Yes.
So he really knows the hero. But in my answer to the question is like, is LGD scary or not? To me, they're the team that were supposed to be here being 4-1.
Yeah.
And they're 2-3.
Agreed.
So I don't think they're that scary based on that.
We'll see. They have a lot of games to go. Who do they play next today?
LGD will play versus MVP.
That should be an easy one.
That should be an easy win. And then they play newbie.
Depends
should
if
be
you
an
give away the
easier
Warlock or the Wisp Bristleback, and suddenly MVP could take a game from you. I don't think you underestimate MVP.
No, I don't think LGD will underestimate them. Maybe if they were 4-1, they would. But when you're 2-3, you don't take any opponent lightly.
Yeah.
Certainly not in BO1.
Let's take a look at the standings.
Sounds
See
like a
where
good
we're
idea.
standing. I think in carpet floor. Pretty much. Oh, we have X's. I
Yeah.
don't know that.
Which we should be using.
Which we should be using.
Very
I don't
nice,
know.
Bruno. Good job.
EG standing strong first, 5-0. They beat IG very convincingly. It was completely in control.
Did anybody expect EG to do this well coming in?
No, but I would expect them to be top 8 at this point.
Yeah, top 8, not undefeated, and having beaten a lot of tough teams along the way.
Yes.
Their day one was supposed to be the hardest day one, which I don't think it was in the end, as a lot of those teams, newbie, turning out not to be very strong right now. But 5-0.
Cloud9 are the kind of a little bit of disappointment for me.
Who did they lose to today?
They lost.
Oh, they lost
the
the Secret. That's right.
Lost the Secret today. Yeah.
They probably should be 3-1, but
I say the games they lost are to worthy enough opponents. Like eHome's looking really good.
Worthy opponents.
Secrets are really good. So
yeah,
is that fair?
Fair enough.
Okay.
And on the bottom side, we will see in a second. Yeah.
But I'm surprised that Rave is 4th highest. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
they've had a weak schedule so far, though. They have a lot of tough opponents coming up. They have to play EG today. They have to play Vici Gaming. They did take care of business versus newbie, although I guess we're all debating how much that really means at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not debating that. You keep on the newbie train, but I don't know.
Tier 4 champs, dude.
Hellraisers
hasn't gotten to TI5 yet. People weren't counting Alliance out when they looked like very bad going into TI4 until they actually were eliminated. So.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't think
Alliance fans are Alliance fans. They're almost as bad as Navi fans.
Isn't that like every fan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it going to be newbie fans now? Is there going to be newbie?
Does newbie have any fans apart from LD?
I don't know. Not in the Western scene, clearly. Okay.
K-pop Tosis is a newbie fan.
I wrote an article Tom Fu was going to win TI3.
Okay.
Not all of us are mindless eternal envy acolytes, Lumi. Some of us like to,
I'm
branch
actually,
out a little bit.
I'm
in our
actually just a
allegiances.
Cloud9 hater.
You deserve that, Lumi.
Yeah.
But see, it's because you really are a fan, and so you feel like you have to distance yourself from that by actively hating on them in public.
I think it was like 2 years ago when I was casting the TI3 qualifiers with BTS. It was like the tough love with Chuan, right? Like, because then
Lumi's tough love.
Like, if I have tough love for MV, like they shouldn't be 2-2. They should be 5-0 with 4 games played. Like that's what I expect.
Have you gotten on the line yet with Jackie and let him know that they're not?
Are you like his Asian dad? Like, do you go to Jackie and like, why no A+?
Well, you know what he tells me all the time?
What?
Twice my age, half my MMR. So like, technically I could be. I don't know if I want a son like MV, but that's for another discussion. Anyways, what are we talking about? Standings?
We were talking about.
We were talking about.
Now
standings.
we're just firing
we
shots.
Were just completely digressing.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
Next up.
What do we have next? Secret versus Navi.
Okay, this is back to the standings. Navi, MVP Phoenix, Newbie, and Hellraisers. Potentially out of the competition. SyndereN Gaming also there with 1 and 3, but there's lots and lots of games to play. There's still, I want to say, 27 plus 27 is 54, then plus whatever is left today.
It's like 80 plus.
85 games left.
Oh, and it's the next match is going to be A big one as well.
I was gonna say it was going to be pretty one-sided, but
Yeah.
it's a big one because it has secret in it.
Yeah.
It's going
Any
to be-
secret match is a big one right now.
It's going
Because they
to
might pick techies.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be secret versus Hyper Glory Team or Hearts Get Together, however you want to call them. HGT goes for as well. ZSMJ's team, that works too. This
Team
wildcard-
Ember Spirit.
Wildcard number 2.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Secret are gonna pull out something? Are they just gonna, to whatever extent possible, keep picking the same stuff? I want to say the Techies was a little bit of an odd one out. That could be a couple of reasons. We obviously don't know what the thought process was behind it. Maybe it's intimidation. Maybe it's just, making themselves look really good and showing that they're ahead of the game right now. Or maybe they had like some very specific plan because of like you talked about, they had many melee heroes they were against that game. The laning stage was going to be easy for Techies, etc., etc. Even though he died 3 times. So let's forget
Okay.
about that. Are Secret going to keep picking the same kind of stuff, or are they going to go and show that they have a bigger repertoire?
I think
No.
that's a leading question. It's obviously better if you can get away with picking the same stuff, you will do it. And there's no reason
don't
to
know.
change that until
I
you
don't know
lose.
about that at all.
Why?
If you have 20 good strategies, then how do you ban against that team? And if teams know that you have
If
20
one
good strategies,
strategy is winning you every single game,
Why
why
do you
reveal
need-
all the other 19?
Yeah.
because at some point they're going to ban it out. And then if
Then
you
you show
have
them-
And then
you show them
but,
strat number
but
2.
you have to practice them. They haven't played any official matches coming into this. You can't just rely on scrims.
Yeah, but
It's a good way to try to get some more confidence and try to mix and match your lineups a little bit more to try to play them in matches that, like, I always say scrims do not work the same way as official matches. You
Yeah.
practice, but it's never the same as when it really counts, because then you play the best you can, and the opponent does too. Scrims are a way of testing whether combinations work and whether you can play together, but you never really get the deep insight you get from matches.
okay, then I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna go one level further. I'm gonna say, is it the same to play a group stage match where nothing is on the line necessarily over one match than playing an elimination match?
Well, of
No.
course it's different.
So then again, it's like playing.
So that's the extra tier.
Exactly, playing a strat in a group stage match with no match on the line might not be the best practice if you wanna. test that.
You don't really want to practice in an elimination.
These are still
match.
meaningful games. Scrims are meaningless games.
No, this is potentially a completely meaningless game.
It's far too early to know that. Therefore, it's meaningful because they don't know it's going to be meaningless.
I think when
Man,
you're
this
4-0,
is more like
5-0,
reaching philosophical.
I mean, seriously though, they're 4-0, guys. They're not qualified yet. Jeez. If they were like 11-1, then yes, I would agree they become meaningless games. They're 4-0. They have a lot of work to do.
I think 5 games, 5 wins get you into top 12, which is of course not what they
so
want.
you really
Wait,
think
wait.
Secret is going to? We're top. We're top.
No,
we're
no,
top
no,
12.
no,
We're
no,
good,
We
no,
boys.
made top 12, guys.
I-
We reached our level of ambition. We're good. Anything
And
that
I
happens
think
from now
Pack
on
it
is
up. Let's go home. You know, we got the hotel. Our tour's probably got a bottle of goose that he wants to tap.
And I
They're
think
done for the day.
7-8 games will get you to top 8.
Maybe that's kind of borderline. Like,
on the 4th game, when you pick Techies against Cloud9, which is shouldn't be a slouch, right? In theory, they were having fun to a certain extent. Because you guys were
And they're
saying,
not revealing anything because that game
This
didn't
is-
reveal
I think
anything.
this
it's
is
a
not
really-
the attitude of a competitive
No.
player. They're not like, I'm having fun. 4-0 is good enough for top 12. That is not how you think when you're
okay,
competing.
maybe they picked Techies to try it out and
They-
realize they can't
yes.
pick Techies because
Yes,
it's a
That's
trash.
why I'm asking, are they going to do that with more heroes or keep picking the same stuff? Now we're getting there, right? That's why the Techies was an
Yes.
experiment that they expected to win, right? They didn't pick it for fun.
Right.
I mean, you can do as much fan service as you want, but you don't do fan service for $2 million.
Yeah,
right?
they're not.
So, I mean, you don't pick.
They obviously.
So.
Zai's been playing the hero coming in the tournament. It's
Yes.
not like there's, oh yeah, let's just pick techies. Like they actually have been thinking about how to use it. Yeah, maybe it didn't do the most, but we saw some seed of potential.
I see that the fact that they had a techies that didn't do anything in the game and they won still speaks very well about them picking more techies. Because what you're
No.
saying is
No.
what you're
no,
saying
what is with this brutal logic today?
we could get away with playing techies, and techies was not what we expected it to be, and we still won. Imagine if techies actually worked.
All right,
But it didn't.
if I were to make a team with 5 players in this house right now, Bruno would be my 5th stand-in. I think.
5th stand-in, so he's number 10.
Yeah.
And we don't even have 10 people in the house. I don't
Damn
get
it.
Wow, that's... Okay.
You've totally hijacked the. Fan.
I don't even.
You're the host. You're supposed to keep us on track, not take us into the
I
brink-
feel
to the brink of
hurt now.
insanity.
I feel hurt now.
It's okay.
I think we should come here a little bit. You have to be my friend.
Okay.
There we go.
You have to be my friend. I'm gonna make you.
Well, you're clearly not syndereNs anymore.
I'm gonna make you be my friend.
I'm
while you're
not
on
speaking
camera.
to you. Talk to the hand. So yeah, after this, we'll have here Secret versus HGT. We talked a lot about Secret. HGT, a team that could surprise Secret. I would say no, but
I don't have a whole lot of confidence in them right now. I just think they're very predictable.
Mhm.
I mean, I've said it like 5 times now, so I'm sure people are sick of hearing it.
So you're saying it's predictable that you're gonna say they're predictable?
Yes.
yes.
Everything is
pretty
predictable.
Somewhat meta.
It is. Thank you. I tried.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that, and I also, in terms of individual skill and how they're playing, I don't think they can compete with the big dogs. to
No,
be honest.
I
not
agree.
team big dogs. Before you bring that up,
They have a few
still called
players
Big
like
God.
they have a few players like Air, for example, to me, who is at that level where he can compete with the best players, but I'm not sure about the
Okay,
rest.
hypothetically, let's say if they get the best game of their lives against Secret,
Yeah. They can win, of course.
they could win, right?
Yeah, well, but
No
So-
team here is so bad that if they get the best game of their lives against another team, they can't win.
So
No.
it's not as clear cut as everybody says it is.
no, it is.
But there's a big advantage
yes.
going
Look,
in.
Do not
Hellraiser.
bet money. Do not
Hellraiser
bet a lot
was
of
about to
money
be
on
Secret.
HGT, I guess is the way I would put it.
They won one of their lanes really well, and I think they could have won the game. But I also think Hellraisers is doing quite significantly better than HGT.
Yes,
to be
I would
honest.
agree with
So I would say if that game was like a 20% win for Hellraisers, this one is less than 10 for HGT by that logic.
And with Hellraisers, the issue is not individual skill. They have it in spades.
they're
It's
playing very
They have execution and decision-making issues.
Yeah.
Guys, we can keep talking about this, but while we talk about this, we can show people a little bit of the C9 versus Big God
Oh,
game.
that's a good idea.
The draft has just finished, so the game is about to start.
Wasn't I
This is
supposed
not
to
going
cast
to be
it?
the game that's gonna be here.
Yeah, you're supposed to be casting it.
This game, yeah. Why are you here, Lumi?
What are you
Alright,
doing with
see
your
you
life?
Why are you here?
Get out of here.
Production.
You
value.
aren't even supposed to be here, Aldi.
I'm supposed to be hosting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, Bruno. Get out.
no. That's Vici versus LGD. Secret versus Wildcard 2.
Well, this was like the post game.
Don't worry, guys. We
Now
have
it's
everything
becoming
under
Ah,
control. We know
right,
what we're
yeah,
See,
doing.
yeah.
now's where you boot me off the panel.
right. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
getting benched.
I'll gladly tell you to stay.
Okay.
But the other two guys might want to kick you out. Anyways, we do have.
Welcome
seen-
to Robinson.
Jesus.
We should do that. Like, we should make people vote who stays in the panel, who goes. Big Gods versus C9. C9 went with the anti-mage for Eternal.
Who's
Envy.
even? I guess Gods is maybe casting.
Yeah, Gods and Sons fun.
They're supposed to be down here though.
Oh, Burning Naga.
Burning Naga.
And Alchemist pick too. This is kind of an old school draft from Big God.
I would be very, very happy if I see Alchemist going for an armlet, a quick armlet.
Is he core? I think he's solo mid, right?
Yes, he's solo mid
Yeah.
Alchemist.
That could work.
Because one of the problems that Bones
It's
seven.
just dangerous against AA though. As yeah, this could be the first blood.
This is the first blood.
Oh, maybe not.
Bone Chime.
yep.
Oh,
First
like
blood.
the last attack.
Ice representing.
Hello, we're back.
Yeah, by the
We're-
way, when people because people pointed out on Twitter, like sometimes people are talking and someone is like looking like uninterested like this. That's because there's the previous.
because we're
screen.
really bored of the people.
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Like people are like,
When
Bruno,
do-
why are you so bored
when
when
do I
they
get to
talk about
leave?
you? Like, no, it's not. I'm bored. I'm just looking at the previous screen.
Yeah. We actually are really bored though.
Yes.
We hate what we're doing.
Yes. But hey, our
And I know
passion is
syndereN
lost.
has been bitching.
See
a lot.
this face? It's my opinion of you. This one.
Passion lost.
It's your passion lost face.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we just changed, and we're gonna look at the live streamer. This has a little bit less lag. It looks a little bit worse, but it doesn't matter because it's not our game.
Yeah, if you want to watch,
That's the spirit.
if you wanna watch this, you can go to twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit 2,
oh no, Dota.
and
It's a
you,
Dota
I
Summit.
mean you can go there and you will not find it.
We just want to make sure you're paying attention.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you can go to twitch.tv/Dota Cinema, and there you will find it. And it's being casted by Lumi and Winter.
Well, let me trying to get in. What? So are they supposed to be down here?
They're supposed to be here.
We're not getting the memos today.
Oh, dude.
We were not included.
Cut to a break. We're tilting. We're on full tilt.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to try to collect ourselves here. We're going to actually let you listen to the commentators who know what they're doing. Well, one of them does anyway. Sunsfan and Gods are going to take over. And
Yeah, Sunsfan knows.
Sunsfan knows.
yeah, Gods definitely doesn't. I mean, have you seen the booty shorts?
Yeah.
See
Never
you in
again.
a bit. We'll be back once we know what we're doing.
Ends up being more damage overall. I think it's at level 1 the highest single target damage nuke almost. It's like
let's see.
160 or
We're gonna look.
120.
He still hasn't skilled, by the way. He's level
Yeah.
2. 40 damage
160.
times 4. Yeah.
I think like what even Shadow Shaman's Aftershock is like 110 or something even, but yeah, nothing. I don't think there's any other nukes that do 160 at level 1.
Yeah, you might be right. It's up there at least. More lag, apparently.
PP.
What do
Hey,
you think
let
of what do you think of Venomancer mid in general?
He's annoying as all hell. I don't know.
I guess. Well, how about this matchup? Just Alp versus Alchemist. I mean, it's a melee hero, so Venomancer should be happy about that, right?
Yeah, it's. I think Alk's a good hero to put mid against the Veno, just because you need a hero that's just going to sit mid and just not let Veno walk all over the lane. Like if you have a mid hero that wants to go off ganking, it doesn't work well because Veno will then just pressure the tower.
Well, he's going to stun himself, but he'll live through the day.
Gets the acid down. And
Unfortunately for Bone 7, he's been forced completely out of this top lane. He's level 1.5, as opposed to the Batrider, who's level 2. So actually not that far apart at the end of the day.
Bat end of the day is though going to accelerate his farm and do a lot once he falls back to the jungle. And even if with or without stacks, with stacks he gets a 12-minute blink dagger still. Without he can still get a pretty decent time. So it's always one of those things where Batrider just needs to get a little bit of XC, get level 2, get level 3, and he's pretty good then.
And the unfortunate, another, keep talking crap about Nyx Assassin. You can't really do anything if you get forced out of lane because you can't go into the Ancients. Alchemist going to pop his stun, going to use it on himself. He denies himself. Been planned? I don't know.
No.
I think got impaled while it was active, right? So that was
Yeah.
just luck of the draw.
That was they rotate, and because they rotate all those heroes in Misery, he's
Poor
maybe
Misery.
dead.
Puts Chilling Touch on himself and Anti-Mage, doing a lot of damage to ROTK, but ROTK is out of mana, which means Anti-Mage doesn't really do that much now. It will take 2, maybe 3 more right clicks. I don't think
he chases
Eternal Envy wants
this,
to go
does
for
he?
this. 1, 2, and does he have the movement speed? He does have boots. Treads picked up at the same time. Alchemist rotation, and down he goes to the unstable concoction.
Oh, God.
So it's a 1-for-1. Anti-Mage did not want to die there.